Folks, Bob Mannery here, and you're listening to Agree to Disagree, the flagship, only on A2D Radio. Uncle Sweeps, Nick Delgazzo, the legendary Brian Wilson, and the fucking man himself, Tom Arnone. These three guys from Jersey bringing you real talk with no agenda. You don't like them? Tough shit. It's their show, and they're going to say whatever the hell they goddamn want.
Giddy up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Agree to disagree. HUDRadio.com. We are live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios. BMW of Atlantic City. We're off exit 17 in the Parkway. Find them online. BMW of AtlanticCity.com. Tom Arnone, Nick Delgazzo, Greg Milwakovic, Ryan Brodo on the ones and twos. Will be over in the passenger seat in a minute. Brian Wilson. Tons of fantasy drafts. This is what junkies do. We're a family full of junkies and degenerates, and nobody's running from it. And one of the family members had to take care of a little business, so he's not going to be with us tonight. But listen, you know how we roll. We got tons to talk about. Flyers, playoff push. Obviously, they get the point today. We'll break down a little Flyers later on in the show. Michael Bennett, Philadelphia Eagles discussion. Obviously, the video comes out. We'll talk about it a little bit. Talk about some of the moves that have been made. Are they a better football team? We'll get into that later on in the show. Discuss the great job Brett Brown has done. I mean, I remember early on in the year. I mean, it was fire Brett. The guy's clueless. He doesn't know how to call plays out of timeouts. And there's a certain guy on the airways in the local area that kept saying, players make plays out of timeouts. When you have a roster that's not really NBA ready, this is what you get. But we'll get into that later on. Playoff expectations for 10-9-8s could be clinching as early as they play tomorrow, right? So they could be clinching as early as tomorrow. And we'll take a look back at the last 4 to 5 years and what it's taken to get basketball back in the city of Philadelphia. And listen, it ties right into our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. Find them on the web, scanzanosports.com. When did you start to believe in trusting the process? Embiid or Simmons debut, Dario coming over, JJ signing, Markelle Fultz pick, or was there another? Let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. HUD Radio is where you can find us. The family's already chiming in. And listen, plenty of 10-9-8 tonight, along with everything else. I didn't even mention another huge thing on the docket. Final four. You got Kansas going on right now in the Dukies.
3 out of 4 already in.
All right. Who gets in? Who's cutting the nets down in San Antonio? We'll talk about that as well throughout the show.
And I might have missed it. Did you even touch on the other team that's getting ready to get started?
Phil, no. We didn't even get – there's so much.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about.
I didn't even get the Kingery. I didn't get the jetpack. That you don't, that you're not, that for some reason you're opposed to.
Now I'm good with it.
No, he's good. I can't. 25 minutes ago he wasn't good with it. Now he's good. Now he broke the bread.
With the extension.
That's what I was going to say.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the only thing I would give you. Not you. Like the only intelligent thing you can come up with, if from me, for a baseball standpoint, is the financial thing. Because earlier I know what you said, but that's daddy ball. It wasn't you speaking. You're just saying, where's he going to play? I give two shits about that. All right. Franco, to me, is a nobody. He's a nobody. You know what I mean? And if you're worried about contracts and hurting guys' feelings, that's daddy ball. And if you know what I mean? And now we're talking about the big leagues. You know what I mean? But financially, absolutely. It's been done before. It's a blueprint. So I could see that. But when you said, once that happened, that's it. Now hands, let's go.
There's a lot more information now than there was when we broke the video.
No question.
You know what I mean?
So we'll talk about Scotty Jetpack and the Phils and expectations. Start Thursday, so it's right around the block. We have to give them predictions and all that right now. It's got to happen right now. With so much going on, this is what happens.
Yeah, when you guys did that, you were just talking about he's going to break
it with camp.
Listen, I was just saying when you hit.
Which we wanted.
You set a tone to your whole organization when you do things this way. When you say, hey, if you come in and you just overly impress and all you do is hit or all you do is get outs, well, guess what? You're going to be rewarded for that. And that's a change of culture that this organization hasn't done ever.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, he hasn't stopped in 3 years. You know what I mean? So we'll just see if it continues. It just, you know what I mean?
But
that's what he does.
But getting back to this section, we got tons of people chiming in. Mike Parker, yes, let's go.
What up, Mike?
We got tons chiming in. We'll get to it in a second, but I want to answer the poll question. I know Charles Nebo says, I believe as soon as the process began, Sam Hinkie gave us a ton of assets for the future. The future has arrived, and it's now, and that's spot on. Charles Moranin, What's good, fam? What up, Chuck?
What up, Chuck?
Pop Montanez, what up?
Pop.
It's been a nice year with our sports teams. Let's go, Nova. What up, Pop? Krista, Drew, McDermott, Sweeps.
What up?
Marcus Billups. Shout out to Kimberly, by the way.
Kim.
Kim, shout out.
Bombshells.
James says Embiid and Simmons. Rob Povia, where's Big Wills? Doing tons of drafts, Robbie. Tons of drafts. Tyler Coughlin, trading for the first pick to take Markelle and the Rocco extension only because it really signified that we were ready. Fair. That's a fair one. Zeke says health and wins. So if you want to give that to Joe and Ben, I'm fine with that.
Or we were serious, At least that's all.
Yeah, serious than we were before. No question. No question.
If you're in that boat, you feel JJ was a good signing then. You know what I mean? Like, you could have got just a run-in-the-mill guy, that could, be a role guy and could maybe make some shots for you, a.k.a. a Corver, and you go out and get a guy like JJ instead who's, a winner. He's in the playoffs every year and stuff like that. But
and you spent $20 million. You
which
show
is cheap in the NBA.
It is now. Yeah, it's funny.
But monopoly money going around.
At least it shows that we're trying to become an NBA roster,
Absolutely.
and that's there's no 10-day contracts anymore. Them days are over.
No Ish Smith.
None of that stuff, and it feels good. But we're gonna listen. Let's get to the poll question. We'll get back to your questions, comments, concerns. When did you guys start to believe in trusting the process?
I'll go other. I was a day one guy with Hinkie when he came in and laid out a plan of attack, if you want to say, of how he's going to make over this roster and make over this team. I was bought in. One of my gripes about the old regime, whether Billy King, Ed Stefanski, Rod Thorne, whoever you want to bring up as our old GM.
Shit blender.
Yeah. Our contracts were overbloated. We had no draft picks. And because our contracts are overbloated, nobody wanted our guys. So you knew there had to be a change of approach. You couldn't do the same old stuff and expect, it's the definition of insanity, You couldn't continue down that same path. So when Hinkie came in from day one and built this blueprint, I was sold. And then, of course, he backed it up with bringing a guy off the pop tree in to lead and teach these kids. I was sold from day one, so my answer is other.
No, that's a great answer because really there's only two ways to win in this modern day NBA. Is the everybody goes and plays together, so it's three stars, or if you're Golden State 4 stars, right, or through the draft. It's, you know what I mean? There's just even though the NBA money, they're throwing money around like monopoly money. You just you can't sign. You're not going to sign 5 or 6 guys. So there's one or two ways to do it, and. I like the way that we did it. Obviously we had to sit through some misery and stuff like that, and we had to get it right in the draft, and hopefully, we didn't miss on number 3. We'll see. But the 2, barring health, are superstars, and that's why I would pick A. But I love the answer, and I figure A is the obvious. Could be obviously it's the the obvious answer, but the other guys to me are huge role players and tremendous play. I mean, Dario's awesome. I mean, when we saw him get off the plane, we were jacked.
Oh,
we knew he was coming.
We were jacked over YouTube videos.
We knew he was coming. Yeah,
True.
But just with dealing with that, that injury, with the foot injury, and then Simmons' injury, we just couldn't wait to see him get on, play together, and it's been special. So
but even the Warriors, a real quick touch on that. The Warriors built it through the draft reality. I mean, they just got lucky that everyone passed on Steph. They got lucky that Clay was the assassin that he is. You know what I mean? Draymond, they drafted him in the second round. I mean, they got lucky through the draft that these guys fell to them, and they are who they were. But you're absolutely spot on with that.
Well, I mean, obviously, the only way you could win in this league or get better when you stink is by tanking. There's only one way to do it, and hopefully you get lucky in the draft like you guys were talking about. To me, I mean, I believed in it when that whole process started, but it's too easy to go in the same way you guys are going, so I'll look at it a little different. The first time I saw Joe in a video of any sort, and I think it was the dunk. I think it was a dunk right after the first year, and I think he was dunking in warm-ups. And when I saw that, that's all I needed to see anymore. If he gets on the court, this whole process will work. And he did, and now we are where we are now, and obviously Ben matters, but
Yeah, it was getting down on your knees with some rosaries and hoping he wasn't Greg Oden. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like, that's all.
Really?
I mean, because Greg Oden was 65 at Ohio State, so you just knew his
The
body.
face, the face
You
look.
knew he was going to
The
break
eye
down.
test.
We knew
You don't
Greg
even
was
need
going to break down.
Yeah, you don't even need a freaking
But, I mean,
interview him.
yeah,
As soon as you bring him in,
but
you're
we were
like,
just like, please, with these big men in their feet, you know?
Greg, stop responding to the questions. Can I just look at you in
He
the
was
eyes for a minute?
65 at Ohio State.
Greg, again, stop responding. I'm just going to look you in the eyes. Okay, next. You know what I mean? Like, the guy, like he's 92. You know he's going to struggle. But no, as soon as you saw that from Joe, you knew that, whoa, if he gets on the court, it's a monster. And the flashes you saw at Kansas, as well, is stuff that excited you as well. I mean, compares to Akeem, and then there was the talk, is he going to be a bust? Is he not going to be a bust? Is he ever going to get on the court? And you waited 2 years for him to actually get on the basketball court. And now you are where you are now. It's freaking amazing, but that's the only way to do it. So when you hear guys like Cuban and other guys say that kind of stuff, like, hey, we're tanking, and they come out and say it, well, guess what? You should.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get better. You got lucky with Dennis Smith where you got him, but the only way you're going to get better is by landing that franchise changer. Right? There's a lot of, like.
And they've done that before because they landed Dirk.
Yeah.
They lucked out that, I forget who it was. Was Charlotte that traded Dirk? That traded Dirk to Dallas? What was that draft? It was a draft day trade that got Dallas Dirk.
19 years ago, bro.
Yeah. But, I mean, they looked out and got that franchise changer, to your point.
98 maybe, yeah.
And that's what it's all about. You're not going to change it. You're going to change a bad culture and a losing organization in a tank by just, getting, with no disrespect because he's still a kid, but the Jason Tatums of the world. Like, they're not going to change your organization. They're good players. They're not going to change your organization. You got to land the Bens, the Joes of the world, really. And I hate to bring it just to Philly, but, the Stephs where you get lucky there. Guys that are stars. That's what changed it.
Landing KD instead of Oden.
Yeah.
Seattle and Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Change
the whole organization. The fact that they can even have the conversation today to be bringing in Melo and bringing Paul George was all started because of Durant.
Yep.
And being able to land Durant. Now he's not there anymore.
And I think,
but
look at the Pistons haven't won. Pistons haven't won since the bad. Well, no, it's not the Bad Boys. I'm sorry, Richard Hamilton and those guys.
And they were baddest boys too,
once
though.
they passed on Carmelo.
Yep.
Took Darko. Now they haven't looked back since.
No,
they've been looking up from the gutter since.
So that's when you get cute, but you gotta nail them, and credit to Hinkie for taking a chance like he did on Joe.
Yeah.
He could have passed over there and it went a different way, but that's where he felt where it was at, and then credit obviously to me, Colangelo's first pick was an easy one. I mean, it was Ben and it was nobody else. I mean, that wasn't even a question to me in that draft, and then this draft we'll find out. But the fact that if you just go 2 out of 3, or essentially you can say 3 out of 4.
2 out of 4.
Well, 3 because you hit Dario.
But you missed Joe.
But you missed Ja.
But you missed Ja.
Sorry.
There's my miss. Don't
want to confuse them two.
So 3 out of 5.
Could be if Markel. You got to wait on Markel though.
Well, no, because Dario and Joe are the same draft class.
Still count.
So that's. But
Still
you hit
count
2
them.
though, right? So that's 2. And then
The only
Ben and Markel. So right now
the only miss after the first initial Nerlens, Michael Carter Williams.
Yeah.
The only miss was Ja. We don't know about Markel.
Yeah.
So even you give Nerlens, I think Nerlens has a role in this league, okay? More so than MCW. All right? Nerlens still will have a role and will play a while just because he has a skill set, essentially, defensively.
He can muck it up.
Yeah.
He can muck it
so he'll play a while. But so even if you miss on 3 out of all, that's winning throughout that process. I mean, that's cleaning up, actually, because more organizations are going to miss on a lot more.
Yeah.
Where they might only hit 1.
Anthony Bennett.
Right? So, I mean, credit. And then credit to, again, him bringing in from the pop tree. Bringing in Brett Brown, who's gotten criticized in this city because he's had to coach nothing but slop. I mean, they were in tank mode. The guy was coaching to lose almost.
Yeah.
Not essentially. He's not trying to lose games, but the roster given to him was going to lose games and make him not look good.
He was more coaching to player development than he was winning a game.
But our impatience because of this process of how long it took was guys out there early on in the year and even last year crushing this guy and not letting a young team develop a little bit and add some pieces. So I'm going to get back to the comments here in a minute. Theodore says all the above. Marcus Bill says, please don't remind me of Odin. Will says, when Ben took the court and JoJo played it back-to-back. Ooh, go on, Willie. Go on. David Dolphin, I understand what the process was, but I didn't fully trust it until I saw what Embiid could do on the court.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mike Mataraki, when Hinkie fleeced Sacramento for multiple first-round draft picks in exchange for what amounted to a salary relief, he was a genius. He's right. He's right. Charles says, started believing the moment Hinkie was straight up with us and clear about his plan, what his plan was. I was all in from the get-go. And that's genius, Chuck, because, you know, when a guy's honest with you, how can you not buy in? When in a world of sports where nobody's gonna fucking tell you nothing, it's like the CIA. Like nobody, especially this organization now. Like it's real hostage.
I mean, is that poor guy? Like you think, like when the Sixers finally cut him down, you think somebody finds that guy walking the streets of Palo Alto with a giant beard like Sweeps.
We're going to statue outside the studio.
Drinking milk in a fucking bathrobe, and they're like, hey, and
I'm
they
gonna
hire him,
escape
and
of emotion.
and he gets another job. You know what I mean? Is that what it's gonna fucking take? I mean, golly.
Yeah, like what else does he need to do? Are you gonna come around?
Well, I'm trying to plug in something. Zuck's not cooperating at the moment.
Of course.
But for me, the second Embiid finally stepped on this court and played his first game, that's what sold it for me. Because I knew, listen, hey, it took him almost 3 years to finally get to a court, but he could play. And I knew throughout this entire process, if we didn't hit with another draft pick to where he was as big of a star as Embiid was, I knew Embiid would attract veterans that would want to play with him. And then once Ben played, I knew, okay, well, this is going to be happening way sooner than we expected because it opened up the whole game in a whole other level to where now I knew Ben's going to attract guys to come here. Embiid's going to do the same thing. Oh, and they both can probably win a lot of games just having those two on the court together.
With nobody else.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, them two and, like, the four of us, and one's a bench guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
We'll do it. We'll try.
I'll take
We'll
it.
try.
Bunch of TJs.
I'll throw it. Yeah.
Bunch of TJs.
And then
I'm gonna need a fucking pee break, but I'll throw a bucket. I'll throw a bucket in every 4 minutes.
And then on top of that, if anyone didn't trust in the process or believe that it was a possibility by that point, the second, and this has been going on for longer than I think a lot of people really think as far as like a national standpoint, the second someone said the name LeBron in the same sentence as Philadelphia 76ers, that's where I knew, okay, this could be a thing. This could be something special for years because we talked about it for years. We want guys to come here. We want this to be an attraction, not just a barren wasteland to come to get a paycheck, for example. We wanted this to be a destination again because it's been a while since it has been. It's been an embarrassment for a little bit. It's been, okay, we have a theory, we have a plan, but nothing else. We kind of have a blueprint, but nothing else. We have an opportunity to get the best player in the world. We do. LeBron could be here next year. I think a lot of us think he will be. And the fact that he could be here with Embiid, with Simmons, with the other guys, obviously Dario, Fultz, obviously, if he gets here. Listen, man.
If he just admits to Brett that he can. Now this is where this is going, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
now, I love this shit. I absolutely love this. So now, what Brett's saying is do you fucking guys talk? Like, I mean, you told us that all you do is spend all this time watching tape, the two of you, right? So through all the tape watching,
Tapegate.
he never said because if this is the case, let me make this clear to the people out there, and I'm a Fultz supporter. Throughout this whole process, if he never said once to you he wants to play, open the goddamn door and tell him that see you later.
He's too busy doing photo bombs.
Because I don't understand. I mean, according to Brett, he's waiting for Markel to say he's ready to go. And I don't know. Now we're waiting on him now to say he's ready. So throughout the whole time, he hasn't told anybody he's ready to go. I don't understand. You're watching film, and he's out there shooting jumpers pregame, spin moving, dunking the whole nine. And throughout all this shit, he didn't say, hey, coach, put me in, coach. Are you fucking kidding me? Because if that's the case, he's the biggest bust of all goddamn time. If that's the case, there's nothing between here and Brian Colangelo. If that's the case, don't interview players anymore. You're done. You're not allowed to interview anybody. You don't do any of that. You're not charting. Nothing. Oh my God, I'm fired up now. That gets deep in me.
Yeah.
It's in my veins. Like, wait, he's not saying anyone. I'm a Markel guy. I think he's going to be a good player. But you're not. If this is true, you never said once that you want to play basketball.
And that's all it's going to take.
That's all it was this whole time. This whole time, this soap opera is
That's
based
what
on
I'm
him saying he
saying.
wants to
It's
play.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I still can't wrap my head around it because if we're talking about, we're talking about beanbags and being a Ken doll. I get that. But now most of the talk has been centered around him being a mental midget. Right, and a guy that licks fucking bus windows. You understand? So if that's the case, why would his coach say? Why would he throw him under the bus? Why would his coach say? You know what I mean? If his mental state is fragile as they say it is, and they want us to believe that, why would his coach say, "Hey, he can play. All he's got to do is say yes." You know what I mean? Knowing that guys like us are going to tear his fucking head off.
Crush him.
I mean,
Crush him.
so I just, the whole thing is fucking bizarre. It's like the Twilight
Why is
Zone.
it every year?
It's the NBA version of Twilight Zone for me. I can't fucking unbelieve it.
Because it's every year.
Pinky got ran out of town, and the Sixers medical staff still has jobs.
Yep.
They're fucking horrible.
They don't say nothing. Colangelo don't want to tell you nothing. And then when you do tell us something, it's the biggest all-speed pitch you ever seen in your life. I mean, you go from 105 to 60, and you're concreted, right? I mean, that's what they're doing. Wait, what?
Charlie Huff?
What? What happened?
It's funny you bring that up because number one, Sweeps, to your point on why, if he's so soft, why is the coach bringing it up? I completely agree with you. Maybe it's Brett saying, hey, maybe I'll give him a little push. I'll make it known so people can say, like, oh, maybe it'll come out like, oh, maybe it's Markel.
yeah.
And they'll give an extra push, like, I'll prove him wrong.
I'm a tough love monster. I love,
yes.
Fucking A, let's
and
go.
And then, too, like, they were showing highlights before the game last night of Markel, like, in the hoodie. They're calling him, like, Hoodie Markel. I guess they're trying to recreate, like, Hoodie Mello. Where I was like, first off, you can't make that comparison if Markel hasn't played on the court yet. And, two, I'm thinking to myself, how is Markel not wanting to be a part of this? Like, we're not, like, Markel, we're not asking you to be a star. We just want you to freaking play. Come on for 2 minutes. Just come in, make a shot, and be like, okay, I'm alive. I can play.
That's it.
And then that's it.
Get a taste.
That's
and,
it.
And guess what? I mean, if the red shirt game's the game this organization wants to go down, okay. Because I don't believe I believe all players come out way too early.
Yeah, good.
All right? It's ruining the college game. That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
All right? I mean, I understand it. They got to make money. Well, pay these kids money to stay a little bit. Because the NCAA is going to.
God knows you guys are cleaning up on the fucking games.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, right? Because prior to his video, it happened the fucking other night, too. I can give you a laundry fucking list of it. Right? In the fucking Kansas game on Friday night. 4 seconds ago, nobody fouls. Spread's -4.5. Motherfucking rats.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, all you got to do, and in college, you can foul before it's inbounded.
Yeah.
Today, Texas Tech down 100. They're tackling fucking Brunson.
Of course they are.
You're down 100. What are you doing?
Now you want to tackle. Florida State don't want to tackle nobody last night. Now everybody wants to tackle people. It's just
No, but you're right. Absolutely. The youth is a lot of them aren't ready. And that's why there's only 2 rounds and they crap out. You know what I mean?
But this is how you handle it, right? If this is the kind of organization you want to be, hey, pull the hinky move. Hey, when we draft guys, depending on the situation, we might redshirt. All right. We believe that our player development is that good that we're going to make you better.
But
By taking a step and having time to get stronger, bigger, more physical, because we're going to win here. So, especially like the next year coming up with now you have 2 first-rounders, right? So I don't need really any of them because I'm not even talking draft because we're not down that road. But, I don't need any of them. So take a little seat, get better. You want to come out, you're getting paid a lot of money to take a seat and get better with no pressure.
Barring an injury, or like Brodo said, he doesn't want to be a part of this. Why are you not playing in the fucking G League then? Like, go play basketball. Like, I mean, that's the only way to get. That's the only way to get better. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Even just a week, just
Whatever.
to get some run.
Let's go.
But
you're sitting there in your stupid little bow tie, and now wearing a hood.
Mucking it up behind Molly.
Yeah. I mean, come on. So it's the whole thing is so bizarre to me. I can't. So I prefer not to talk about it unless we have to. It's just.
Chrome says, "Hey fellas, what up,
Cromer?
Chrome?" He said, "Once Embiid hit the court, I was 100%, became a believer. Now with him showing he's healthy and Ben, good Lord, 10-9-8." And he said, "Thank God we didn't go winless for Wiggins." Ralphie D, what up, fellas? What up, Ralphie?
Chrome, solid dance moves last night.
What up,
pal.
Ralph? Yes.
Great dance moves.
The Silence of the Lambs behind Tommy. I'd fuck me was pretty good there, buddy. Put the lotion in the basket. Well done out of you, Crumb.
Lotion in the basket.
Fucking Buffalo Bill before he answered the door.
Chuck says, Ryan Brodo, miss you, bro.
Miss you
Of
too,
course,
man.
you fucking love the bro, man.
You miss Ralph. We miss Ralphie.
No, we said, Ralphie said, what's up,
Oh,
fellas?
okay. Sorry.
What up, Ralphie?
Ralph?
What up, Ralph?
What up, Beard? Michael Robbins. Is it still the process if we shoot for LeBron or a George? Y'all might have talked about it already. He says, okay, never mind. You're all talking about it now. No.
No, it's still a process.
It's still a process because the process was built upon being able to attract.
One piece left.
You know?
I mean, there's a giant puzzle, so you're just trying to put it together any way you can. That was just the beginning of it.
And if you think about it, it's already started to work because a guy like J.J. Redick, now he only signed a 1-year deal, and we threw a buttload of money, but he chose to come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? J.J. chose to come here, and he has said on numerous interviews he loves playing in the city because it's a real sports town. He feels like after playing in L.A. and Orlando for so long, he feels like it's a real sports town, which obviously we have the best fans in the world.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, J.J. even on a mid-tier level shows that the process is working and has worked.
Exactly. Here's a question for you guys.
Agreed.
Now, are you guys in the mindset, because right now they're the 4 seed. If the season were to end today, they're the 4 seed. Are you in the mindset where you would like a situation to come out where you want to play LeBron in the first round? Or is there a certain team that you're looking at like, oh, I'd rather play them? Or you're just going in saying, we can play anybody, we have a shot against anybody?
Yeah, I feel like we have a shot against anybody. I mean, you wouldn't LeBron scares you just himself.
Yeah.
I mean, not really them. I think the Pacers is a tough matchup for us.
That's
just
the
the
only
way we
team
play.
that worries
Yeah,
me
they
is
scare
the
me a little
Pacers.
bit. I mean, I
Just
like
because they seem to match up very well with us.
I like what Victor does. He's an issue. He's been an issue all year. He's comeback player of the year probably. And Miles Turner's
He's
taking that
a
next
problem.
step. He's really emerged. The Wizards don't do much for me. I mean, Wall's Wall. I mean, so and Beal. One of the Morris clowns, I think, is still there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Beal's worrisome because he gets off
yeah,
the
I mean, he
bucket.
can get hot. He can
Yeah,
get hot
but
a little
that's
bit.
about it.
But no, I'm with you with Indiana. I mean, they're the only team that they don't scare me.
Yeah.
But I was at the last game when they were in town, and they just match up very well with us. Turner causes a lot of problems for Embiid. He's a clown, but what's his?
Stevenson. Yeah.
Stevenson. He's a clown, but he's a problem.
Yeah.
He can muscle up
Well,
Ben.
I've always
he's the
loved
ultimate
Lance.
teammate.
Yeah.
Like, he's a flaming douche, but he's a hell of a
Yeah,
teammate.
but
and
on the
gonna get in your
defensive
face.
end, he's a guy that can body up Ben.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not as tall as Ben, but he can body him.
Yeah.
He can cause him problems. And then, as you mentioned, Oladipo, and then somehow Corey Joseph is still making shots for that team.
Yeah,
course
they got a
he
bunch
is.
of they
Of
got a
course
bunch
he
of
is.
pieces.
2
Yeah.
years ago, I crushed Corey Joseph, so now of course he's fucking making shots. That's how this goes.
But you're right though.
Bunch
They're
of
the only
pieces,
team
yeah.
really outside of a single LeBron
Yeah.
that kind of worries me in that first round.
To be honest with you, I'm not worried. I'm really not. I mean, you're going to be worried because this team hasn't been down this road before.
Right.
But, I mean, besides Cleveland and LeBron, in the Raptors, but you're not going to see them in the first round.
No.
So, besides them, who has all this playoff experience in the East that,
And you'll
you're,
find
that
out.
you're like, okay, well, they have so much experience. That's worrisome. We're talking about Indiana. I mean, what experience that Lance does, but these other guys,
It's gonna
Oladipo
be
doesn't
great,
have
yeah.
any.
Obviously, we don't want to be behind. We would like to just sweep people, but for me, it's going to be the ultimate gratification and to see where they're at, like being down 2-1 or something, right? And then digging in and grabbing that fourth game, wherever it is. I don't give a shit if it's here or wherever it is. Just digging your heels in, tying that up, and forcing it if it's forcing that next game. So. It's going to be exciting.
I honestly think, because I've heard so many people try and say, to Philly fans and just in general, oh, you guys don't have a shot because there's no experience. And I understand experience is big with anything, in all of sports, just anything in general. But for me, I don't look at Embiid and say, oh, he's going to shrink in the big moment. If anything, it's the exact opposite. He lives for the big moment. Same thing with Ben. So for me, those are two guys, the two centerpieces of this squad where they're made for the big moment. They really are. Now, the one big thing for me to where I'm not there yet to say, oh, they're going to go to the finals or, the Eastern Conference Finals. It's the turnovers, because when they're on the wrong end of the turnover battle, they basically give up a game. Like, once they're on that side of it, like, I think they lead the league in turnovers, which is an issue, but that also comes with a young team. But other than that,
playoff basketball is going to slow down. Yeah. So I look at it like this. Playoff basketball is going to slow down, which means I got to go a little bit more inside out now when the game's going to slow during the playoffs. That's where I think there's going to be less turnovers, and this is where 21 is going to flat out fucking eat people up. I mean, he's going to eat their lunch. That's what's going to happen here. I'm telling you right now, they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Write it down. We talked about it. I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm sold on this team in the playoffs going deep in the East. There isn't a big man in the Eastern Conference. If he gets in the block and wants to be dominant with no back-to-backs, which will be fresh, he's going to eat people up and he's going to dominate people. And that's going to create us going on, and I think it's going to – the slower games should help with some of the turnovers. But it's definitely an issue. You can't turn the ball over 25 times a game and expect to beat good basketball teams consistently in 7 games.
The one thing I'll say, I agree
last
with –
time they played the Pacers, sorry.
No, you're good.
Turned it over like 26 times, 25 times.
You're not beating anybody.
It's still a chance to win.
And that's a point to a little bit of Lance, D'ing up Ben and stuff like that. But it's still a chance to win. So I just feel like when the game slows down in playoff basketball, I just feel like the real recipe to win isn't the Golden State Warriors. It's the inside-out game. You win inside out in this league, and I think that's what we have here that no team in the East does.
Well, we got 3 shooters, and so if we do go inside out, we got 3 shooters out there hanging around. I know how we feel about Rocco, but he's a shooter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dario, we love, and then of course JJ. That's what you do. It's like you look him up. That's his name tag. He's a shooter.
Shooter. Yeah. Bellinelli or
But not only
Ersan.
that, I was just about to touch on that. As much as we would have crushed Colangelo. And I crushed Colangelo. What he has done with that secondary bench, getting to us to 8-9 guys. Amir has got playoff experience. He stinks, but he's got playoff experience.
But when he runs 7 minutes, he looks good.
Right.
Right? I mean, when you run.
No, you're right.
Small sample size.
JJ Redick never missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Ersan, always, was a playoff guy. Bellinelli, obviously been with the Spurs for a couple years.
Shooter.
Playoff experience.
Shooter.
So these guys that were now 9 deep.
Oh, I ate that crow. I ate that sandwich. I ate that sandwich too, and it was delicious. And, you know what I mean? A little whiz wit with a crow, and it was fine. I mean, but that doesn't take away the things he has done wrong.
Oh, no.
Okay, you did what you should do as a GM. You got a team that's making a run here. Well, how can I make him an NBA roster? Right. How can I solidify the bench? And you went out and did it, and kudos. We clapped it up for you, and, I'm not going to blow him yet until we're on broad.
And I still won't. Because that's Hinkie. Then Hinkie gets the statue.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really tough to miss a layup because Sam Hinkie set up so many layups for Colangelo. Here, number one pick. Oh, we only have to go from 3 to 1. Sure. Oh, I screwed that up.
The only guys missing layups right now are Colangelo and Fultz. Yeah. That's the only 2 guys missing layups are Colangelo and Fultz. Yeah. Right? I mean, the only guys that miss layups.
And you know what's funny?
And they're tied to fucking hip.
That's the biggest move as far as a draft he had to make.
Yep.
That's the only movement, and he screwed that one up.
As of right now, he looks like he got absolutely fleeced.
Yeah.
For that,
for right this minute.
That's what I'm saying.
And for Ja.
How does Tatum look on this team right now?
He literally put, Danny Ainge said, hey, Bri, come here for a minute. Bend over. And I mean, he put him over his knee and he slapped him a couple times.
Oh, you want another second round? Yeah. Okay.
It's hysterical. James Wilder's got a great question.
What up, James?
Jamesy.
What up, A?
What will it take to be able to say the process is complete? The addition of a name brand player, a championship. I'm going to answer it real quick. To me, it is complete. The process is complete right now. I don't need, you're winning basketball games. You're competitive. You're young. You're up and coming. It's essentially complete in terms of that way. You're not losing anymore. You're not talking next year's draft. You're actually talking about being able to go to an Eastern Conference Finals as a young basketball team. I mean, that's complete to me. It was complete to me was never having LeBron say he's coming. That doesn't complete it for me. What completes it is, wow, I got 2 superstars. Complete. Yeah. And I got players around it. That from where it was, that's completion. Now, is it the final completion? Of course not, because the roster's going to get better as time goes on, you would assume, around these kids. But as of right now, it's as complete as you can get right now.
As much as you love to finish the job, it's not that easy, and especially the West being the West.
Yep. Yeah.
So for us to finish the job is not as easy as that's not an easy answer. You know what I mean? But from where we came from and terrible basketball, 9-10 games where nobody was watching, hey, we'll take that, and give us a chance, a seat at the table, and see what we can do. If we can, we can represent the East, we'll take our shot.
Marcus Phillips says Lance's hot breath in your face, Stevenson.
Absolutely.
Zeke says hashtag lock talk in terms of them going to Eastern Conference Finals. Ralphie says Sixers about to shock the world with a first-round exit. Listen to me, okay?
You wonder why you weren't invited last night. You know why.
This guy. Fucking Laker crumb.
He's upset because the Lakers are 26 games out of the freaking playoffs, so that's all he has to talk
There's
about.
been a lot of rat talk throughout the course of A2D over the last couple of days, Ralphie.
Yeah,
all right, don't let us get the concrete ready for you.
He got a little butthurt last weekend when Michigan State got bowed out.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Ralph, about that. We didn't mean that. No, you had a rough year.
What up, Kim? Kim's in the house.
Kim!
What up, Kim?
What up?
What up, Hearts?
To answer James's question, it's almost kind of like a checklist with if the process is complete, because you look at it, number one, we've been asking for, we haven't, part of us is not even asking for winning basketball. It's just exciting basketball, just a product to where we can actually turn on the TV in a Sixers game and not be like, oh, I got to sit through this just to see how bad we are at the moment. It's an exciting product.
Yeah, well, the word another word you're looking for is the opportunity to blow fourth quarter leads.
Yes,
which we've done a lot, and that's all we were looking for. You know what I mean?
Just have a lead.
Let's have a lead in the fourth quarter.
The fact that we've shit the bed, several times, we'll take that.
For years,
the game was over by halftime the last couple of years.
No, for years we would be saying oh, we're up 2-0, boom, done.
Stop
we're
the
good.
game.
We're good.
Lock it up.
I would turn my TV off. We're up 2-0. I'm good.
Floor's wet.
While we're hot.
Floor's wet.
So we have exciting basketball again. At least on these airways, we haven't talked draft. We've been talking about free agency. We've been talking about June 30th, not whenever the hell the draft is.
Right.
And I don't even know, which is great.
The family's getting me upset. They're trying to tell me that the process is complete with the championship. That's not fair.
It's not.
That's not fair.
And that's where I originally went. But then listening to the way you explained it.
And we're winners, so we of course we want to
yes.
win.
We want to win.
Yes. I don't settle for I get it. I'm in the business.
We're not giving
for
out
broad.
ribbons. We don't like giving out ribbons.
Yes, I'm in the business for broad.
Stamp it.
Yeah.
Yes, I would stamp it done. But I think we've all alluded to it. The opportunity to allure somebody of that nature to come play with our pups, I think is, to your point, kind of solidifies the end of it right now. Your point, we're winning basketball games. We're watching good basketball right now. We're in it. We're in a battle to host a playoff series. We're gonna host a playoff series.
Not you.
Chew it through.
I'll go right. I'll fucking swallow this out, Pat Kid, right now for the people. Benjamin Joshua. Process was a waste unless they win a championship.
I disagree.
Again, I'm going to say this again. I'm in the business for one thing and one thing only. That's as many times I can get the broad as possible with the family. That's it. But to say it's a failure without a championship from a team that won, 8 games one year?
10.
10?
Either way, it doesn't matter.
That's not a failure.
Yeah.
If you're a consistent playoff team and an Eastern Conference, now I'm not satisfied with this, but to say at the end of it, if there wouldn't be a 30 for 30 calling it a freaking failure, there would be a 30 for 30 saying, hey, this is how you actually get a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what I want, but to call it a failure is the wrong word.
We all want the championship.
Yeah, because even if Bron doesn't come, he's on his way out. So to me, it's Sixers, Celtics, back in the 80s for the next 10 years, in my eyes.
Ben, get back to me in 2 years about this because this is going to change. This is a moving situation. Like James's question is about right now. To me, the process is essentially complete right now. Now, am I going to be satisfied in 2-3 years if we're not winning? If we haven't won a championship? No, that's when it's going to be okay, maybe there is some failure going on here. But in the moment right now, I cannot say if you don't win a championship, it's a failure. I can't.
Because it's produced 2 bona fide superstars. Yep. Above anything else, it's produced 2 bona fide superstars, and you don't know what else it's produced in a guy like Saric and a guy like what potentially Markelle could bring you.
Absolutely.
Would it be disappointing if we don't win a championship? Yes. But remember, only one team wins a championship every year.
No, Kim, you didn't say it was a failure. Benjamin said, Kim, Kimmy, come on, babe. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whatever sport
Did
you're
I
talking
said
about.
Benjamin, right?
Yeah, you said
Benjamin said a failure.
And that's
Benjamin.
like even
There's
as
31
much as,
other people that are butthurt.
yeah,
Whatever
as much
sport
as,
you're talking about.
As much as we want to talk and think dynasty, even with the Eagles,
I know your truth.
you know what I mean? But
I know your
but
truth.
there's no guarantee that we're getting another one. I mean, look at the
Somebody-
Phillies back in 08, 09.
Mid talk here.
You know, I mean, Ryan wasn't even alive back then, but you know, the Phillies.
Fair
were 08.
assessment.
An
Fair
embryo?
assessment.
But
Guy was
only-
an embryo.
You're telling me the Phillies only get one win out of that? So there's no guarantee, and that's why I think to set that benchmark is as the definitive end is too high.
Benjamin's saying it. He said, I agree. It's not based off of this season, but in 3 years from now, if they haven't won a few, I want to say a few years. If they haven't won a few, it's a failure. But okay, let's look at it like this. 6 years from now, if we haven't won one, you can start having a failure conversation. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say that to win multiple. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's just get the one.
Yeah, I'm even going to quantify that because is the process really going on with Colangelo versus Hinkie? Because, you know, Hinkie started this, and now Colangelo's finishing it. There's two different guys. One's a free thinker, one's run by the NBA.
Well, I was going to say, like, I agree with what you're saying. Is Colangelo even finishing it? He's kind of just watching. Listen, everyone's already here. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, sure. He drafted Simmons, even though, oh, okay, I'm one. Simmons is here, so I'll just pick him. You know what I mean? Like, he's not, I don't know if he's finishing it. He has the chair now.
Yeah,
My dog would have sniffed Simmons and drafted him.
Yeah,
You understand?
And you know what? You know what Titan probably would have done? He probably would have actually interviewed Markel.
Yeah, they would have had a good talk.
Evaluated.
Probably better questions than
Yes,
BC, obviously.
Exactly.
The Simmons test was multiple choice with one answer. Is there no B or C? Is there no B or C? All right, fuck it. A, he's good.
I think Daddy came in and was like, he got a little grippy. Like, Daddy got a little
Hey,
grippy.
just color that hole in. That's it. Hey.
To your point, Tom.
Number 2 pencil.
To your point.
Abacadabra.
Bring extra.
2 years ago, the Sixers had 10 wins. People get angry at me when I say we. We had 10 wins.
You said we again.
I don't care.
Just say we.
We.
It's a we process.
Exactly. This entire process had 10 wins. Now, and I hate to keep bringing up that guy, we have a shot to get LeBron. That's a discussion. That's 2 years ago. That's a comparison of 2 years. We went 10, 28. Oh, 4th seed, maybe LeBron next year?
Maybe 50.
That's a
I
success.
think he can go 8-2 to finish this season.
Zeke even said, I mean, this is above. Like, I had a lot of wins for this team. I know a lot of us did. Had a good amount of wins. I mean, mine was all based off of Joe and Joe staying healthy. But
we certainly weren't Colin Cowherd in here. I mean, we were in the 43, 44 range. All of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Zeke said, dude, 500 was about our target. We've been even better. House money, hungry dogs, and he's right. I mean,
Completely.
Like this process is above,
Where I thought, I think we all would have been okay with a 6 seed in reality, the way it played out. You know, I was 45 wins.
Yeah,
I thought 15, 17 wins over last year was a huge jump.
And like Greg was saying, I mean, they can conceivably go 8-2. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's the NBA, but you know that'll get them to 50.
The 50 burger.
There's 10 games
and
left,
that's
you
the
know what I mean?
last time the Philadelphia
There's only
76ers
3 good
won
teams, you know what I
50
mean?
plus games.
And the Nuggets are coming here.
Where'd they go, baby?
That's the one hard game I look at. You know, the Nuggets are coming here, so we got it at home. Cleveland. And then you got to go to Detroit or Charlotte, so you can get one of those games. You know, they're the only ones. The rest of them should be layups.
Last time we won 50 plus, 2001.
Was that the
answer.
step over? Was that the
The
step
answer.
over?
I actually went back a couple weeks ago, and I found there was actually a poll question. I think it was agree or disagree. I think at the beginning of the season, and you asked the people what would define success this year. And I went back to all the comments. 95% of them were just making the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
So when James asks about this season, I know he's talking about the entire process, but when you talk about success this season,
He's trying to foreshadow it. Yeah.
listen, I mean, when 95% say just making the playoffs, and you're here thinking, oh, home court?
Like, Eastern Conference Finals came up in a conversation.
Yes.
Right? Because if you
And
think
you get
about that.
stuff wasn't thrown at you when you said it? You know what I mean?
people might be at home being like, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But regardless, listen, it's a success, all right?
Yes.
It's not even close to a failure. Now, again, it's a year-to-year conversation, right? Like, I mean, next year we could be having a conversation where it's going the other way, right? You just don't know right now because it's young. But as it grows, the conversation will build up until what the end result is, if it's a failure or success.
And there's just so many other variables. 'Cause
Yeah.
if we don't get LeBron or somebody else, and we got to do it on our own. Now you're climbing that mountain, and where these other free agents land is just going to load up. If they load up the West or they load up somebody else,
well, that's where Fultz
if
becomes important.
Somebody
you
goes
know,
to Toronto. Somebody goes to Toronto and stays there and keeps.
Sweet.
Them,
That's why I
keeps
think.
them on
That's
top.
why I think Markelle Fultz could be the finishing piece of this puzzle. This is what's insane about it. I mean, you don't have to look at outside. You know what I mean? And he's a number one pick of a draft and can score like any bit like he did in college. You don't need to go. You don't need to go looking and hoping guys come here because you have all this talent. We'll see how it plays out with them, obviously. But, right now, that's how I feel about it.
No, I agree.
And Ralph says if you guys don't win one at all in 4 or 5 years, it's a process of failure. In 5 years, if we don't win one,
you'll have to let me know where we're at.
Okay,
are we in the finals? Are
that's
we
what
in
I'm
there?
saying.
We just didn't
Are
get
we
over
winning,
the hump.
Yeah, are we winning
Or
46,
are we losing
45
first
to
rounds?
46 games
Yeah,
every
we won
year?
and dones, yeah.
There's playoff basketball. Everything's exciting,
are
and we're not getting it done. Yes, we're not giving out ribbons. We're not in that business. All right, we despise that term, giving out ribbons. But you got to understand the definition of failure. I mean, is it there's different degrees of it. You know what I mean? There's been plenty of teams over the years. You want to go to sports. All right, the Mets only won one time with all that talent. I know they were snorting both fucking foul lines. The whole fucking team were smoking, both foul lines. All right, we understand that. The Indians won dick, loaded.
Yep.
Loaded. The Indians were loaded. I mean, you go right down the line. Cowboys haven't won since 1940. Right? I mean, they get they get everybody. Come on.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll go a little deeper
true.
with that. In 5-6 years, or just down the
well,
line.
right, was the Eagles' success over the Andy Reid period. Do you look back at it today, okay, even before he won the Super Bowl, would you have said no? Would you say it's a failure? No, you would have begged for it back.
No.
You would have begged for it back, and if you sit at home and you tell me you want to beg for it, you're a goddamn liar.
No,
Double digits
and
every
the way
year.
I always say
Double
it is,
digits every
I
year.
wasn't an Andy guy. He never won the game. But I'll sign up for that 10-year
Yep.
run every day
Yep.
and
Shit,
twice
yeah.
on Sundays.
you
Because you
guaranteed
knew every
10
year.
a year.
You knew
10
every
6
year
at least
you
until the last
you had
year.
a chance.
Yeah.
You knew every year
That's
you
all.
had a chance.
You were talking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All I want is the opportunity year to year to say we have a chance to win it all. Okay? Now, we can't control the final result. Do we want to be on broad? Hell yeah. We're not in the participation trophy game either. Okay? But, this team is a constant, finals appearance basketball team, and they can't get it done. I don't know if I can say failure. I mean, is that fair?
I mean, if we're 45 to 50 wins and we're out first round every year, all right. But if we're 55, 60 wins,
and then you just start at that point.
Second round, Eastern Conference finals dropping out, and we just catch a bad break.
Yep. And
I
at
can't
that
say
point,
that's a failure.
and then no, absolutely not. And at that point, you start judging individuals, right? Coaches and players, right? Like Brett Brown. Then his time will be defined by that.
Sure.
just like Andy's, right? Andy built it. Great organizational guy, great builds winners, can't get it done or hasn't got it done to this point. Understand? McNabb, beloved in this town, didn't get it done, right? So if it goes on for, like you said, 6-7 years, then that becomes JoJo's narrative. You know what I mean? Like, knock on wood, or Ben's still young, or whatever it is. It becomes individual. It doesn't have to be just an organizational thing. As long as they're putting, us in the right position every year, and we're winning, and we're getting to the playoffs, and we're just not cutting down the nets. Now it's just not a failure. You know what I mean? I don't know.
So, for example, if this scenario had to play out, for example, say years down the line, say they don't win the finals, say they don't make a finals appearance, and Ben Simmons leaves. Say he goes to another one of these freaking super teams or whatever. You know what I mean? The pieces start not falling apart, but they start to leave. I'm not saying like Embiid will go somewhere, but let's just say Simmons. Say someone where we know his star power, he's only going to get better. Say he goes somewhere else, and we don't make a finals appearance. Would you then, and we don't land LeBron, let's say, then would you sum that up as a failure? Because then you have one of the key pieces of the process leaving before a championship is won.
No, then that's failure talk.
I agree.
Chrome says, I agree, Greg. Depends how successful the organization is. If we continue sitting in the middle of the playoff pack and haven't hit a top 5 team haven't hit a top 5 team in the league, I wouldn't say it's a failure. Marcus Phillips says, I remember thinking we should have kept Andy during the Chip Kelly campaign.
Shit, yeah.
You know, so that's all what it goes back to. Chuck says, what drives me nuts about people who hate the process is that they don't have the awareness of the nature of the building teams in the NBA is. Being a mediocre team in the league is the absolute worst position to be in, you know, stuff we talked about. And the only way really to get better is by losing and getting that franchise guy, you know, paraphrasing, you know, what he was saying. And we got 2. So in no way, shape, or form is it a failure. Now, James, that's a great question because look where it went, brother. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we went deep into that, just that question on what would be a failure. But to me, man, if you're winning and you're successful, and every year I can say we have a chance, I'm in. Now, during the period, is it frustrating, the Eagles times? Was there so much disappointment through that run? Hell yes.
Yeah, walking out of the vet after Tampa Bay comes in and whoops you.
But once you start losing games,
exactly.
Once you start drafting the top 10 again, you're like, oh man, would I love to go back there?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And how would you judge Doug in 5 years if they only win one last year without their guy? You know, because the NFC is continuing to get better and better. You know what I mean? The NFC's it's no cupcake, you know what I mean? So nothing's guaranteed. I mean, the Eagles are making their moves, and then they're understanding what they got to do. They're not sitting back or sitting on their laurels as the Super Bowl champ. So they're, how he continues to do his thing, you know what I mean? But if something, if they don't win anything in the next 5 years with Carson, knock on wood, you want to see that guy win 1 or 2. But is it a failure what Doug did? No, I mean,
not at all. Benjamin says it was time for Andy to move on. Yeah, no, I completely agree there. Agreed. That's not where I'm going with it. He said Chip Kelly era was taking 1 step back for us to take 5 steps forward. Great, but it was time for Andy to move on. My point was through when we started losing, you're like, man, I sort of miss Andy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's all the point. That's all the point of that was. But we talked about Brett Brown and the job he's done this year, and especially with, bringing 2 guys in, out of nowhere in Bellinelli and Ersan. Granted, Ersan's played in the system, but getting them guys and the offense running smooth. And, part of the turnovers, I'm not putting that on Brett. It's just young guys running offense. Your point guard's a rookie. Yeah. As great as he is at distributing the basketball, there's going to be turnovers. Your big man, gets a little sloppy with the ball sometimes. It's just part of his game. You take the go with the bad with Joe. You know what I mean? Like he's going to turn the ball over sometimes. Oh well, he's also going to probably give you a 29 and 14 stat line with 3 blocks.
He wanders around the perimeter a little much.
Yeah. He's Joe. He's Joe. Like when Wiggins saw him last night and smiled, I'm like, dude, I want to be a fly on the wall for what Andrew Wiggins is thinking when he runs into Joe and probably hasn't talked to him in a minute.
What I love and I think speaks volume for Brett is in that comedy of everyone trolling Cowherd earlier this week, Joe's tweet was all about Brett.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Coach deserves a lot of credit for this. And sure, a lot of it is Joe being healthy, Joe being on the people. Joe being on the floor, combining with Ben. But Brett's been the staple. Brett's been the stable voice throughout the last 3, 4, 5 years.
I argue with guys who ran a couple plays in a fucking YMCA league in groups that told me this guy doesn't know how to call plays out of timeouts. The narrative for group hating and fan hating on Brett Brown was plays out of timeouts, okay? If I gauged 100 guys, one really could probably draw me up a half a play out of timeout. You understand where I'm going with this? So it's the rush to always, fire coach. Fire the coach. Well, where would we be right this second if we listen to all the people out there that wanted him fired 20 games in, 25 games in, 30 games in, 40 games in, right? Where would we be? So sit at home, look yourself in the mirror, try to buy a clue first, second, after you look in the mirror, then try to buy yourself a clue, all right? And stop watching basketball. Come here, we'll teach you ball again, and then we'll let you know when you're ready for us to release you back out into the NBA world. But until then, you're in YMCA gyms.
What I love about these guys is, who are you firing him for? Yeah. Who are you firing him for? You bringing in Mark Jackson who couldn't win with Steph and Clay? Like, that's who you're bringing in?
Yeah.
He couldn't win with Steph and Clay.
And I love Mark. There's that man again. You know what I mean? I love Mark. But
man down.
You know what I mean? Like, who are you bringing in? Now, I'm sure there's guys out there like, but the NBA is a recycle league, so the top name's gonna be Mark Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, these guys. Like, this is what I deal with.
GIF. So there's a GIF. Tom Arnone GIF.
So and this is I remember the exact show this was on. I was on with Brinkman, for example. And I will name names because I don't care because you freaking
he named names.
I don't. You know me. I do not care. And we were arguing about Brett Brown, that whole thing. And this was right after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So that was right when the Sixers started going on their streak to where no one lost in Philly for felt like a month. It was just win, 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 win. And he kept telling me, oh, you have to fire Brett. You have to fire him now before they get going. And I kept saying to him.
Before they get going.
And he was saying, oh, you're effing nuts. You're effing nuts. So that's why I'm naming names because I'm still upset. I'm still this is what happens. To where, why are you talking about firing people when they're winning?
Family members are being called out.
I don't even care. You know me.
No, I love it.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's family. It's what we do. You don't tell a family member like it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay you didn't take the fucking trash
we have
out.
to be honest
no,
with
you say, John, you take the goddamn trash out on trash night. That's how you talk to family.
Throw a roll off his fucking head.
Honesty hurts. Honesty hurts. You know what I mean? They'll get better.
Ever have a food fight at a table? I mean, win in Rome. Let's go.
In a year, and I'll say this again, 10 wins 2 years ago, 28 last year. Oh, my God. Potential 4 seed. Maybe 50 wins. Talking about firing a coach? What? Why? Are we serious? I'm not calling Brett Brown the best coach in the NBA by any means, but I'm certainly not saying that he's the worst. I'm certainly saying that he knows how to get the best out of his guys when to do it.
Well, where's your loyalty?
Exactly.
Where's your loyalty to a guy who dealt with slop for all that time?
That was my feeling on Pete Buchanan. You know what I mean? Like, I understand there's guys that want to get younger, and there's their youth, and they think the tanning guy with white teeth is going to be able to relate to these guys, and that might be it. But, I mean, I felt that guy was here, took over the year when it was slop, and had a great second half. And then, I mean, the last year, they weren't expected to win. I mean, they should have been better, we thought, than they were, obviously. But that's, I looked at it the same way, too, so. Sometimes it's it's time for a new voice, but I'm a loyal guy too.
We're going to be taking a break in about 3 minutes here, and we're going to head over to YouTube and the site where you can come join us. YouTube site, HED Radio. YouTube, HED Radio. I mean, these are facts. You know what page you're on, but sometimes you got to point people in the right directions. If you need us to, we can drop in www.
We can drop the link in there for you.
We'll drop the link in. You come join us over there. We'll continue in the Final Four conversation. Eagles, Flyers, playoff push. We got to dissect that as well. And Phil, we have to give our predictions, season predictions. Kingery up with the big squad. That's exciting.
Kansas 15-5 to start the second half. Sorry to cut you off.
No, don't cut off.
48-41.
Now when the guys loaded up.
Rock chalk, 15-13 left.
Look at Marcus Billups, great comment. Grizzlies fired Fizdale, and look at them getting blown out by 61 versus Charlotte.
Yeah.
Right? And all the players around the league came rushing. Like, when LeBron was sticking up for Fizdale, you're like, whoa, what was he sticking up for him for? But obviously the guys out there that knew this guy knew he was a good basketball coach. But these teams jumped the gun, and this is where you end up.
He didn't get Mark didn't get along with him, and Mark didn't get along,
David Orozco, real quick on the YouTube. What up, boys?
We're coming over.
We're coming over.
Well, we're already there.
David.
We already got
warm up the tube.
Coming back.
Warm up the tube.
Get her warm over there. So, we're going to take a break. Other side, continue our conversation. We'll talk Sixers as well, but we're going to get into some Phil's Final Four. Eagles, Flyers, and whatever the hell you guys want. Agree, disagree?
Take you into your fantasy drafts.
HED Radio. I got one 8 o'clock.
You got one at 8 tonight.
Tom Arnone, Nick Delgado, Greg Milanovic, Ryan Breda will be ending it here on Facebook for you. Come on over to the tube.
Thanks,
Come on over to the site.
Climb on in.
It's for the Brown haters. It was a kiss and an F you. We'll be right back.
Folks, Bob Mannery here, and you're listening to Agree to Disagree, the flagship, only on A2D Radio. Uncle Sweeps, Nick Delgazzo, the legendary Brian Wilson, and the fucking man himself, Tom Arnone. These three guys from Jersey bringing you real talk with no agenda. You don't like them? Tough shit. It's their show, and they're going to say whatever the hell they goddamn want.
Welcome back. Agree, disagree. HDRadio.com, live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. BMW of Atlantic City, exit 17 of the Parkway. Find them online, BMW of AtlanticCity.com.
5 straight, and it's tied at 57.
Every Sunday, brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. What was the score update?
57 all, 5 straight by the Blue Devils to tie it. I don't know if Billy got a timeout or not.
Yeah, we're going to pull it up here. You know what I mean? We're going to pull it up. But we start our conversation 10-9-8 tonight.
Yeah.
Just when did you start officially trusting the process was the question. You can go look at it. All right, you know the questions. It doesn't even matter if you're pulling from not even our poll. You know what I mean? Just when did you start? What made you first believe that this is going to work? Let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. ATD Radio is where you can find us. We'll continue our conversation and shift it over to a little Final Four. Obviously, Kansas, Dukeland right now. Nova move on. Michigan move on. And
Loyola?
Sister Jean.
Sister Jean.
They see me roll, and you know how it goes. And she's rolling on to the next round. We'll talk about that. Who's going to cut the nets down in San Antonio? We'll do that as soon as this game ends because we'll have, obviously, a better understanding on who's playing who. So we'll wait on that one. But let's get into a little Phils. And we can do this quick because we have a couple other things to talk about. I got a fantasy baseball draft soon.
Yep.
So we'll run through it. But win total and are they a playoff team? Aren't they a playoff team? And we'll go from there. Anybody who wants to start it, get the party going.
I'll go.
Good to have you.
I was originally, we talked on a couple, other shows and other weeks. I was originally in that 85 to 90 range. Now with Arrieta, I'm on that high end of that 90. The move to bring Scotty up from Jump Street and the extension to keep that control, I don't necessarily say it's going to move me a game or two, but I'm still on that high end. So I guess it will move me. I'll go 90-95 now. is my win total, because that just proves that the hot guys are going to play.
Yeah,
and the hot guys that are going to be here.
That's a great statement, because in 2 months, even though you necessarily win the division in April, but you can lose it. You know what I mean?
You definitely can. And yes, at 95 wins or 95 wins, if you're not battling for a wild card, then there's some teams that are just absolutely blowing up, which doesn't kind of correlate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're at 95 wins, you should be in a wild card race.
Yeah.
Or at least a division race.
It really only happens that 1 year. Cardinals, Pirates, Cubbies.
Right, yeah.
It was all 96 to 97, 98.
Right.
The Cardinals might have won like 102 that year.
Yeah.
And crapped out. But the other two were like 96, 97. It was insane.
Right. So, yeah, I do have them battling for a playoff spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I was like 82 or 83. So, the way things always happen, you feel like when you add a monster like that, it's automatic, but just the way baseball, evens itself out, something else, knock on wood, can happen too. So, but I'll still sit at like, I'll go up a couple, 85, 86, but still fighting for that second wild card, absolutely.
For me, I had him at 85 before the Arrieta, and then obviously we get Arrieta and then Scott Kingery. This whole move that happens today, first off, it shows me that they're serious this time.
Yeah.
They're serious. They're not going to spin it like, oh, we're going to try to win, but we know we have long-term success ahead. No, they're like, no, we understand his value. We get how special he is, so we're going to do this to get him up now. We're going to go out and get Arrieta so we can win now. And I look at this entire lineup, and I look at it as there's guys that get on base. It's not just one guy anymore. We don't need one guy to be the centerpiece anymore. Obviously, we look at guys like Hoskins, obviously, a Williams, a Kingery as like the most exciting, and then obviously Crawford is there. I can go on a rant about any of these guys, and that's the exciting part, because it's been a while since we've been able to. Obviously the pitching, as far as depth, that's going to be a question mark, and it's going to be the main concern for this team. But I believe so much in the hitting aspect of this team and how exciting this team finally is. I absolutely think this team's a playoff team. I'm going to go with 87 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I knew they were hitting from jump. Too many kids that hit in this lineup. They're deep, and it was a question mark on the staff, right? The starters. Well, you go get Arrieta, now you move guys back a little bit. Noel's looked good towards the end of the spring.
Yep. And
I think he's going to have a chance to win an NL Cy Young this year. I know that's freaking crazy, but I just like the guy that much. I talked about it last year. When you see a pro switch things up and you start using lower halves and talk about changing things up, and you pitch at LSU, you pitched on Friday nights, and you're willing to still change your game and adapt and get better. That's what winners do, man. That's what great players do. I'm not saying he's great, but my projection for him is that he could be that dominant this year, and he was over that 10-game stretch. Now, can you duplicate that? Can that be over a 20-gamer? Because if that's over a 20-gamer, he's in the Cy Young conversation. Because nobody had better numbers over that 10-game stretch besides Clayton Kershaw. Well, if you're in the conversation with Clayton Kershaw, you're in the conversation for a Cy Young. That's how that game sort of plays out in the NL.
And Max is pretty good.
Yeah. Now, even if he's in the top 5 of that, that's a win, a huge win. Yeah. And it shows his growth. I think you know what you're going to get out of Arrieta, right? So now what happens with them other guys, right? Your Pivetta, your Eichhoff, if Pivetta is one of your other guys, but the guys your Eichhoff and your Velasquez, or now you're 3-4. Now you're deeper. Now, okay, if Vinny goes 5, it's not a killer in the 4 spot as it is if he's your 3 as much. It just isn't. It doesn't hurt it as much, and it gives Eichhoff a little bit less pressure. Then now you're moved to a 3rd spot. And I know that sounds like it doesn't mean a lot, but you don't have as much pressure every time you step out there.
Well, I mean, it's just like it's even as simple as if Noah's your ace, then Arrieta's not always facing the ace. Yeah. Arrieta's facing their number 2 starter as well. So that's an advantage. Eichhoff's, hurt to start the year, so, what's that going to do? I was doing a little research this morning on, fantasy, and one of the hot, deeper names in fantasy is Nick Pivetta, because they see the stuff. Like, the fantasy guys see the stuff, and they see a lot of what happened last year as him being a rookie and not knowing how to pitch in the big leagues. Having the big league stuff, but not knowing, finding too many bats per se, as opposed to getting swing and misses and stuff like that. So it's funny. A lot of these, fantasy experts, and again, it's all fantasy, but he's been on a lot of deeper radars to say, hey, if you're in a deep league, take a run at this guy because by the end of the year, he might be someone that's a legitimate pitcher on your staff. Which, if you're in the fantasy world, that means he's doing good things in real life.
Yeah, at least striking guys out and eating some innings up. And,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
getting wins.
Yeah.
The Kingery thing to me, too, puts pressure on Franco. Now you got to hit. When I think guys, not only are you playing for more money, right? Now you're playing for another contract. You got a guy behind you that all he did with spring was hit. And Mikel hit a little bit, too.
Yeah.
Now, with pressure on you, I think you're going to get a guy who hits this year because he has the ability to hit. He's been a mutt. He's been A, B, C, and D, right? But we've seen him be able to hit at the big league level and get hot. Yep. And you see what he can do, what he's capable of. Now, he's nothing crazy. You know what I mean? He's not an NL MVP, but he's a guy who can get 30. He's a guy who can bat 270, 280. He can. Yeah. That's what his MO all throughout. You know, his minor league numbers all throughout were a guy who hit for average, too. So does the pressure now make this team even better, too, right? Because now you got a guy who doesn't want to, you want to come off the field? Because if not, this guy's going to play over you.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think second base is even in the question to me.
No.
You know, Hernandez is your second baseman.
Yep.
And
No.
Kingery can play a little outfield at times if he has to, too. He's flexible, but he's an athlete.
Yeah, he's more of a hybrid. Yeah,
Yeah, he's an athlete.
Necessarily, pushing Caesar out. Absolutely not. It's just giving guys
a
blow once a week. You know what I mean?
No question.
If Caesar needs a day off this way, the kid can play 4 times. 4
Yep.
times a week.
Right.
Then
And
you're
still
feeling
get his
real
at-bats.
good. Then you're feeling real good.
And that's the question they're probably asking internally, too.
Because if not, then you're just wasting them.
Right.
You're spot on, because
that
you're
was
asking.
what saying.
That internal conversation. That
Yeah.
internal conversation had to go on. Like, okay, if we're going to bring him up, we got to get him at bats.
Exactly.
So how are we going to go about getting him 4-5 games a week?
Yeah.
If we get it, how can we consistently make sure we get him that? And that's where, okay, you're going to play him a little right if we have to for a night. Play him at second. Play him at third.
You play third. You play
Play
second.
short for a day.
Caesar plays short, and then he plays second. You know what I mean?
You think he could? Well, Caesar, can play short, so
Right.
that's not even a question. You put Scotty at second, and he goes back to his natural.
Look at his blown call.
Yeah.
They called him out. They called him out of bounds.
And then they hit it.
But it's exciting, right? Because what you said is something
Yeah.
I've been on the same wagon with, too, is they're going to hit.
Yeah.
Yes,
So can they pitch
100%.
enough? The bullpen, to me, now you never know in Major League. Everything looks good. Some additions, Tommy Hunter, Nishak, and you already had a decent pen to begin with. Okay, Lolo's going to pay, but you don't know up here what pen you're going to get.
Right.
You never know, team to team, unless the big dogs sort of know what they're getting with some of these guys. But a lot of these guys, you don't know what you're getting year to year. That's going to be obviously a question. But to me, in a division that's bad, let's be real, it's a bad division. Like you play Atlanta X amount of times. You play Miami. I mean, you play 2 bad teams right now throughout the year that you need to dominate. Now, who are the New York Mets?
Braves are coming though.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah,
They're coming.
I know. I mean,
They're coming. Now the Mets. What Mets are you getting?
They got
Are
a
you getting
full
a bunch?
magazine.
Are you getting a bunch of horses? Because if you get a bunch of horses, now you're in a dogfight there. But to me, the only team that's head and shoulders, and I'm not even going to go. I'll go head. I won't. I don't need to go shoulders yet. But I'll go shoulders above, not head. Is the Nationals? I mean, the Nationals are better. That's just real.
Yeah.
But how better are they? They don't close shit. They don't finish anything. So who says that this team? No, I'm not saying they're going to, but they're Strasburg injury away or Scherzer injury away to you saying, hey, we can play with you too.
Yeah.
Because all it is in this league, it's simple. Do you have a 1 and a 2? Because you need a 1 and a 2 to compete. You can't just compete with a 1. You need 2 legit starters to compete in this league. Every team that wins or playoff teams has that blueprint.
I mean, what did NFL guys say? The best ability is availability.
Yeah.
And
Eichhoff's
like guys like that, they like to take the ball. You got a lot of guys in this staff that, hey, I know I'm getting, I'm not going to fake an arm injury because I'm getting my fucking doors blown off.
Right.
I'm like, here you go. And that's what upset me, Leiter being out 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Because he's
and
another
Eichhoff,
ball
too.
guy.
And Eichhoff, too.
No, I'm saying Eichhoff's a ball guy.
Yeah, but he's out.
I didn't know he was out.
He's out like 2 to 3 months.
And
that was the
and Velasquez has already been the question mark. As it is,
and that
you know
was
what I
the
mean? Is he
aggressiveness
ready
to
to
go
piss
out.
in our faces, everybody's faces.
They announced Eichhoff was out, and then they signed Arrieta. So like it was like
I missed the Eichhoff.
yeah, but no,
I
but
think I missed that too.
I saw the Leiter. I didn't see the wow.
But he showed last year going 0-75 that I'm not going to fake an arm injury to not get shelled.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and work on things. I'm going to take the ball every 5 days and try and help my team and try and better myself. But I completely agree with you. I thought the Carlos Santana signing signified to me that they're going to take that step forward, and at minimum, they're going to hit.
Exactly.
Punch an infant.
And the most exciting part of this entire thing is that when we talk about the ceiling as far as hitting, we know how good, how great a bunch of these players can be at their peak potential. We know how great, when we just talk about the top 2 pitchers in our rotation, obviously Nola and obviously
The
Arrieta.
only question with the lineup that you have to ask is who's, besides some of a couple vets here that have hit over a full 162, what's the adjustment level like for these young kids? That's the question. You know what I mean? Okay, you're going to go through ups and downs. How do you adjust?
That's what I was going to say, because you're right. I mean, Franco, like obviously Crawford's still a pup, but either one of them have shown they can hit MLB pitching over the long haul. You know what I mean? And Kingery hasn't. We'll see what he can do too.
Well,
and we
Nick,
know he hits it at every level.
Hoskins,
he wakes
none
up
of
in the
them
middle
have really.
Yeah.
None of them done it for 162 yet. You know what I mean? You look around, the guys who've done it, Adubel, Hernandez, Santana, they're the guys who have hit, that showed you they can play 162. The rest of them, it's just you got a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Now, the projections of these guys from what we saw in the small sample, they can hit, and they hit their whole minor league career. So,
and two, the thing I always go back
and they've
to is
won together.
Yeah,
they've
of
won
course.
together.
The thing I go back to, as far as, because I understand, like Franco, when he first came out, in that little portion, he looked great. And then obviously he didn't make the needed adjustments. The thing that makes me feel better of not having another Michael Franco situation is that these guys get on base. With Franco, the biggest criticism of Franco was that there was no in between. He was either swinging for the fences and succeeding, or he wasn't. There was no getting on base with him.
Yeah,
To where these guys can.
Yeah, he's not a contact guy as much as he was before.
To where if they get in little slumps, at least they get on base. You don't understand what I'm saying? To where
No, it's huge. I mean, Crawford sometimes struggles to hit for average, but his on-base percentage is always good. He gets on base. And, having guys like that in your lineup that see pitches, the old, AL East mentality, I'm going to run your starter out after 5, and I'm going to fucking wear your bullpen the hell out. You know what I mean? Over a 3-game series, game 1, I'm going to get it out early. I'm going to get your relievers working early in the series. And then by the time game 2 and 3 are coming around, they're coming back out in 5 again. These guys are all worn out, and I'm going to wear you out. And I'm going to take 2 or 3. And
Which
boom.
That only works if you can bludgeon them too, though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm
yeah.
just saying, that's
You got to take advantage.
Yeah, the Yankees had great eyes and great patience, right? But then when they let it eat, it ate. You know?
Yeah.
When the pitchers missed, they did.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Sixers JT.
Real quick, Eichhoff, as Jim Salisbury, 316. Eichhoff out 6 to 8 weeks with a lat strain.
Yeah, it's tough. Lat
And that's the lat.
Yeah,
So that's you're not rushing that
see
back.
See you in July, babe.
Yeah, you're not rushing that back.
So Sixers JT says, we all know the Nats are the best. Which team is second best, Mets or Phillies? To me, it's the Phillies.
Yeah.
Phillies.
Because the Mets, the sample size DL, and that's all you know. That's what's trending. So you can only go with what's trended over the past. These guys are going to get hurt. Now, Syndergaard to me is a guy who isn't going to get hurt to me. I mean, he's a bulldog. Now, the rest of the jabrones, you don't know what you're getting. Now, the lineup,
DeGrom's pretty good.
DeGrom's pretty good.
But you're right. After that, Harvey off of injury, Matt's off of injury,
Wheeler
off injuries.
So dude, I can't wait. I'm just excited baseball's back.
Yeah,
I know you guys. I know we
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
are.
I just got a thing on my phone. It's off topic, but I figured I'd just pass along the info. Steve Kerr talked today. He said there is no chance Steph Curry plays in the first round of the playoffs.
Yo, I love this shit, right? Good motherfuckers, right? I call people the hell out, right?
I'm glad I brought it up.
I'm on the red game, right? And I drop that shit in there, and it's all these like Dub Nation like repliers like this guy's fucking clueless. And it was like maybe could be out for the year. And I wrote the back to it. I'm like, bro, like fundamentals. When a guy goes for an MRI, that's not a good conversation, you idiot. Okay? Anything I said maybe. And if you go through an MRI, there's usually not good news that follows. Like 99% of the time, the news after an MRI is, hey, that's it.
Yep.
Come on. How long you watch Boofer? I know you're a fan of the team. You're going to rush it. Steph's not going anywhere. He'll be fine. Jesus will heal him. Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, no. An MRI's bad.
It's that, and then the thing with Kyrie.
And I deleted it like an asshole because I felt like I was getting ran for my money for a minute.
That.
You know what I mean? Yep. I felt like I was getting ran for my money, so I deleted it. I wish it was still fucking there. I wish I never deleted it.
It's when you hear MRI, or for Kyrie when you hear second opinion. It's like
Yeah.
if you need to go see a second opinion, that's not good. That's not good at all.
No.
So I know. I mean, that's two. I mean, Kyrie and Steph. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Those two
And
situations.
it's lower half stuff. Sorry, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about knees and ankles. And
Yeah,
stuff. I mean,
is that good?
Come on.
Foolish Demon says
Kind of important in basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't do shit in the playoffs. Talking about the Nats,
Right.
and he says if Syndergaard and DeGrom stay healthy, they have a slight edge to Mets, but they're always hurt. And it could be maybe a slight edge because I don't believe in their lineup like I could believe in ours as much as I believe in theirs. My buddy was down. He Pulse, you guys know, Pulse. So Pulse was at the Pirates Phillies, and he was right behind home plate, and he said, "Dude, Alfaro takes cuts." You know what I mean? He said that dude takes some cuts, and he's caught a lot better this spring. He's handled the pitchers better than he did last year.
Yes.
So he really has grown, and that allows you to say, "Hey, Cameron Rupp, we're going to move on." And now you're in where you're in with two younger
and
guys.
I noticed the same thing. I was at the Braves game, and I didn't notice Alfaro catching, which is all you need to know about a catcher who last year was a hot mess.
Yeah.
If you don't recognize that he's dropping balls
Yeah.
or flailing all over the place,
Boxing
then you know he's at least improved somewhat.
Oh, you stop it. Whoa, he just jumped out. He just jumped out San
No,
Antonio.
right, yeah.
He might have just
You
jumped out of
should go-
Texas. Jesus.
You should go under the radar because, like Yachty, nobody's running on you.
Yep.
And you're just calling a great game, and you're just like, hey, I didn't even notice that guy. You know what I mean? He just shut down everything. So, yeah, no, absolutely. Surprised they couldn't get something for Rupp. I mean, we know. I'm not saying he's any. You know, I mean, the guy's a good big leaguer, good backup catcher somewhere. You know, what I mean, so somebody will pick him up. I get it. You know, we weren't going to get a ton for him, but you just hate when the guy gets designated.
I liked him.
Designated. Yeah, no, we like him.
No, I did like him. I
he was
remember
tough.
watching him in the College
Yeah.
World Series.
But
and then,
Naps
and, then,
must have-
and then when the Phillies drafted him, I'm like, all right, not that and I never thought he was going to be a superstar.
He's a worker.
But you always
I
thought
think you said that like
you always
2
thought
years
that
ago.
like if he was on your team, you could be doing worse.
Yeah.
You know, you could do
for
worse
sure.
than Cameron Rupp.
And he's a good guy,
sure.
too,
Yeah.
and that adds in. And, but it just says that they trust Knapp, too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not, because they could have did the same to Knapp and kept Rupp.
Yeah.
Knapp couldn't get sent back down, so it had to be
Right.
a release. So they they were up against it. Who do we keep? And they went younger.
And I may be wrong, but I don't
I think Knapp can hit, too.
I don't
Knapp
think
can
they
hit a
could
little
have
bit.
sent Rupp down without deactivating him from the because even if they send him
He
down,
probably
he's still
had
on the
options.
40-man
Yeah,
roster.
He probably had options. Yeah.
He had options, but I don't think sending him down takes him off the 40-man roster. So I think to open up the spot, they had to like deactivate him and take him off the 40-man, which unfortunately he will get picked up for because it's for nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? No one was going to give anything for him. But yeah.
Sixers JT, what happened to Darren Ruff? He's playing in fucking Japan.
That's
oh
what
my
happened
God, I forgot about that guy.
I'm pretty sure
my
he is,
God.
too, which is
yeah.
funny.
I'll check.
Oh, another great white.
If I could find him.
Oh, yeah, the great white hype. Darren Ruff, Babe fucking Ruth, the people around here. It's the same thing as John Mayberry and Aaron Altair. You know what I mean? Like, you fall in love with, jeez, you guys. Are you guys kidding me? I mean, Vegas is so in pockets. This is how the kids are getting paid. This is how they're getting paid. You didn't make a pass like that all year. All year, you probably didn't make a pass that
From a
big.
layup to the fifth row.
Wow. Like,
I mean, the guy's here, and he's like, "Hey, listen, the popcorn guy's over."
what, you got that up there? Like, you got that in his stands? Little brother wants the ball?
In defense, he walked off the plane in January in Lawrence and was like, they're like, yeah, now you're gonna play for the Final Four.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
call
a
that?
touch. Go ahead, Rod.
So, I searched his name. He's on the he's on the Samsung line, so I know that's over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get free TVs.
Yeah.
And it's not even having a bias.
I
That's
went
just smart.
deeper. I went deeper.
That's just you using context
Yeah,
clues right there.
like,
I mean, that's nothing.
all I had to put was Darren because he spells it all effed up. He puts the
Sherlock
D-A-R-I-N.
Holmes.
Yeah.
Is that Sherlock?
So he plays for the KBO Baseball League. So he's over in South Korea.
Oh,
so,
Korea. Okay.
So a farm boy from Nebraska.
That's where
what
Sonny is.
That's what his wiki says.
That's where Sonny is. Who's my foreign exchange? The foreign exchange student that stayed with us for a while. Yeah, I'll have to reach out. Go talk to Darren.
Buki fouled out again. I mean, it's every game. Book.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So he's over in South Korea at the moment. So yeah,
Cleaning up.
found him.
Found him.
Cleaning up.
Got him.
Foolish team said, good question. He also said, don't expect Todd Frazier to make much of a difference.
No, I never do.
And he's with the Mets, right?
Yeah.
It's
So 3.5, right?
Listen,
3.5, right?
Yeah.
3.5. You gotta be.
You know, the Mets lineup. If the Mets lineup, from 10 years ago, you'd be scared. You know what I mean? Bruce,
Jose.
Bruce and Cespedes and Frazier and Cabrera. You know what I mean? Not
And
Miguel,
Reyes.
but Asdrubal's pretty good.
And right? Ray's still there, right?
Yeah,
He's still there, yeah. So you're even more right. You know what I mean? Go back 10 years, that lineup's raking, and then the whole stadium, the whole shitbag that is Jose, and it just makes you want to punch your TV.
And then you
Remember
have
them days.
super prospect Conforto.
Yeah, is he back?
I don't know.
Blew that
He's
thing
injury.
out. Yeah, when that thing snapped off the bone. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he's at.
Unbelievable.
Foolish.
As long as they just keep showing his mom, I'm good.
Foolish Demon asks on the Darren Ruff thing. He says, "Do they get free phones like the college players get free
I said
Nikes?
TVs.
Free phones, even better."
They probably do clean up, though. I mean, I'm sure he's making good money over there.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it's not bad. It's overseas. It's tax free. I mean, you're actually
Jens.
he could be making more money over there than he would be trying to hang around in the States. You know what I mean?
That's why a lot of guys end up going over there.
See, now there's got to be a bucket here because if not a bucket and a foul, it's over. That's terrible. Like what?
This guy's missed 56 threes.
Oh! Let's go!
Live reaction. Screw you, Duke. Palms up.
Foul that, Grayson.
Stand up. And Azubuike fouled out, of course. So.
By the way, we could be behind on this.
Yeah, here it is for the game. Grayson, the senior, working. Oh, he missed it.
Yes!
You got OT.
Wow.
Vegas is back. We're back, baby. We're back.
No, Azubuike.
I'm not back.
Greg's right.
I'm not back. A bucket wins it for me. A bucket wins it. It's over for me. Now I'm going to get it right up the ass now. I know what's happening now. Yep, there's going to be a live video of the Real Talk. I'll probably have a cardiac arrest. It's probably going to happen. Unbelievable.
Dude, how did that not go down?
Oh, what up, Chrome?
That was a great look.
Oh, my God.
Grayson got what he needed to get out of that.
Yeah, Chrome's on one of his burner accounts in here.
Yeah, look at you. We got KD.
Free marketing in here. Free marketing.
Later, Chrome, and he keeps hashtagging Fire Matheny.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
He goes, I look forward to schooling you young fellas in fantasy baseball. Yeah, grow up, Peter Pan. All right? That's what I do. I'm a degenerate. Like yourself. I'll see you in a few. Foolish says overtime. He said he's better than Torrey. I guess they're talking about Mike Wallace. Yes, there's no question. The only time that this guy's played with a number one in his career is the reason he got paid. You understand where I'm going with this? Yeah. When he played with Hines, all right, in Pittsburgh at the beginning of his career.
With another good quarterback.
And, still Hines being a legit one. Is the reason Miami, I believe, was the one that went out and paid him big money. Was it Miami you went to after?
Yes. They do a great job with a great organization. So, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
They're doing great. Great blueprint.
Yeah, great blueprint. And it's just, so to me, it's an upgrade. The guy would have led our team in yards per reception. He would have led our team last year on a bad Baltimore Ravens offense. It got a little better as the season went on, but a bad. I mean, Joe had nobody to throw to but Mike Wallace.
Well, yeah.
That was it. And the guy had a productive year. Not only this, I love when guys say this.
That was down like 4 times.
I love when guys say this. I love when guys say, I came here for 2 reasons. Carson Wentz and the winter ring. Right? And when I continue to hear that conversation, I'm telling you, these moves are Joe Douglas. If people, I understand that we want to crown Hal. I get it. If you don't realize from last year to now that this is Joe Douglas's fingerprints all over this football team, you're absolutely insane. The only difference is he doesn't need to go tell everybody.
Right.
Okay? There's no ego here, and this is why you win a championship, right? Because there's no ego. They work together. Now, I'm not saying a lot of Howie doesn't have a lot to do with it, because Howie, dollars and cents, there's nobody better in the National Football League. Joe Douglas, to me, is a player personnel guy, is a top 5 player personnel guy
in
the National Football League. So when you combine a money guy and a personnel guy, and neither one give a shit,
right?
They just want to win.
Credit.
That's where you're at now. I mean, these additions. Darryl Worley is to me is an upgrade over Patrick Robinson. People say whatever they want. The guy can start outside and he can start in the slot and he tackles.
Not coming off that year though. Come on. I mean, I understand.
I understand,
I know
but
you're saying like potential-wise.
Patrick Robinson
was fantastic.
Patrick Robinson was a gigantic disappointment his entire career until this season. Okay? Now he had a good year.
Yeah,
now
body
we're
work,
looking.
Body work isn't great, but I mean, you're a loyal guy. I mean, that guy did everything he had
did.
to.
But
you know what I mean?
in the situation you're at money-wise, you're not going to be able to afford all that.
Right.
So to be able to spin that and go get a starter, like you went and got a starter. This guy started 25 games over the last 2 years. Right? And then be able to spin that and get a starter who tackles in a position where nobody wants to get their beak wet.
Yep.
All right? It just makes you deeper. Like you didn't have – Patrick was leaving, and you were fine with it because you have Jalen. All right? You had Sidney coming back, and you have Darby. And all you did was say, hey, you know what? We're going to go. And we have Rasul, but we're going to go out of fifth because we got to be deep there.
Yeah.
Just every move. I mean, you know, Vinny Carey, you're not going to give him that kind of money.
No.
You restructure, you let him walk. Yeah. You know, to be able to go – I understand the Michael Bennett things like touches some people. I'm not even going to get into all that. As a football player, to be able to save $5 million by carrying and Bennett, and you had a better football player and a guy who's won before too. To me, that addition was a huge addition because he's a good locker room guy. Guys like him, okay? Off the field, I'm not getting into that, but guys like him inside the building, and that's all I need to worry about to get the broad, right? So, you're losing to Garrett, a Super Bowl champ, and I love how they bring in other guys. And now you brought a guy who won before, but guys are going to be thirsty again.
Yeah.
And that's so important to get guys who are still hungry for another one.
Thirsty. That's a thirsty motherfucker.
I mean, you took a D-line that was the best in football, in my opinion, or at least top 3, and they're better.
And you made them better.
And a football team, an offense. Like this offense with Mike Wallace, no disrespect to Torrey because I love Torrey. I thought he had a solid year. Some drops and stuff, but he had a solid year. He made big plays when we need him to. Mike Wallace is an upgrade. All we've done is upgrade this football team. It's amazing. It's amazing that we can sit here after a Super Bowl championship. Because remember, we're upgrading for another reason, too. Okay? There's another reason that we ain't even talking about. That's an upgrade from a Super Bowl champ. That's 11, babe. That's 11. And with all due respect to Nick, 11's a huge upgrade.
Of course.
That makes you better. The guy's ahead of schedule, according to Doug Peterson. I mean, he's a flat-out pimp. He's got Jesus on his shoulder. I mean, the guy's just unbelievable. I mean, he's throwing already. That's your plant leg. That's tough. That's tough. Your land leg, your drive leg is the injury, right?
No,
it's the back.
Back
so,
leg.
So your push, right? Your push leg. To be able to be
still
pushed.
got to finish over your front side, yeah.
To still be able to push off of that right now and make throws, any type of throws. Oh, I'm just in love. I'm in love. I can't believe. This time last year, I mean, I love Doug, and I was on board with Doug and all that stuff. But, nobody was thinking this quick. Boom. You know what I mean? We're on broad, and now we're begging for we're talking too.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's so special and surreal, and fucking kudos to upper management. This is how you run upper management in professional sports and get shit done.
On that point, I mean,
you won the free one. You know
yes,
what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
You won the freebie. Last year was a layup, and they were the best team in football all season.
Yes.
Right, but when 11 went down, I mean that rips your guts out. You know what I mean? So.
And then, all week, for the last couple weeks, actually, whenever we would put out a post, saying like, oh, okay, for example, LeGarrette Blount is gone. Vinny Curry is gone. Patrick Robinson is gone. We see a lot of people panic and saying like, oh, like I know you're deep into it, Greg, on the post about LeGarrette when people were like, oh, they didn't even try and sign him. They didn't try and keep him. And it's like, how do we know that?
Yeah.
Like, I understand. I would love to keep everyone in addition to getting people, but I would love if it was in an alternate universe where guys didn't need to get paid, especially a little bit more after you win a championship.
When a guy's going to get $4.5 million,
yes.
when a guy's going to get $4.5 million, he's out the door. With LeGarrette's going to leave for $4.5, and Howie's probably like, you know what, you got to go for 11 for $4.5. Go.
You would love to have 20 Chris Longs where everybody plays for free.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice, Peter Pan.
That'd be
and everybody
wonderful.
plays for free.
Like, listen.
Hey, fuck, don't pay me. I'm cool.
Send it to charity.
Would LeGarrette have a spot on this roster if he was still here and the money was right? Hell yeah. No one's arguing that. But the problem is this situation and the money just wasn't right. And with all due respect to LeGarrette, I love him to death. Obviously, he was great for us, especially in the playoffs. We're not in a situation where he's our only running back.
That's what I said. That's what I was just going to say.
Yes.
Positionally, that's the right way to go. You guys were worried about Bradham, and he stayed. That was huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was saying the same thing about Trey Burton. And again,
Great
with all due
contract, too.
respect to Trey Burton.
Huge contract.
But the thing is, Trey Burton, as far as I know, maybe I'm looking at it wrong, he's not the only available tight end in this league.
Dude, he's a guy.
He's not.
He's a guy. He's a guy. guy. With all due respect, he's a guy. He's not like I know some people think he's better than he really is. Like it's Larry Brown and Dexter Jackson written all over it. I mean, it's a guy who had a big moment in the Super Bowl and is going to get paid for it. And I'm not going to believe that he's a game-changing number one tight end.
Role player.
Like I said, he'll never live up to the contract. He might have some good, decent years, okay years. He'll never live up to that contract, but you got to take it.
You have to take it because not only that, the players' union won't let you not take it.
Yes.
The players' union doesn't want Trey Burton to sign for $2 million here with the Eagles because that kills the market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I like Trey. I like him a lot more than obviously you do. I think because he was a college quarterback and he's still new to the position, there's a lot of growth there that can happen with his versatility and with him at the position. So. But I wasn't signing for this money.
Nah.
And the money that we were going to offer him.
I look at who throws you the ball.
I look, the money that you're going to offer him, there's not even a conversation that needs to take place because it can't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where he comes out, I wish the Eagles would have tried to re-sign me. Well, dude, you knew it couldn't happen. The players' union wouldn't let it happen because we would have had to offer you peanuts on the dollar. And you obviously got a lot more than that.
And we're not going to sacrifice, especially where we're trying to sign, bigger names, obviously bigger role players. We're not going to sacrifice a huge space in the cap for a backup tight end.
Right.
I mean, let's be real here. Like we said, I think we all agree that Trey Burton is a good player. Now, whether or not he's going to live up to the contract, like we said, that's up for debate. We have to see.
Not in Chicago.
But at the end of the day, on this roster, in this team, he's a backup tight end. He just is.
Guys, remember who throws him the football too.
Yes.
And I think that's forgotten in these kinds of situations. Like, you have a pimp who threw you the ball. Like when you had big games, you had a flat out stud pup throwing you the football.
Sure.
That matters. You got to get open. Yeah, whatever. I get all that stuff, but I'm not taking anything away from him being athletic and being able to make some plays. I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying he'll never be worth that kind of money. I know people are saying in the chat that tight ends. We're not deep there. Well, that's where you're going to draft one. Yeah. I know there's a practice squad guy who's probably going to get a chance, and don't even be surprised if Brent Selk's back here for a little bit of money. Okay, don't be surprised. That door wasn't shut. It's just we're not going to pay you this much. You know what I mean? He could if he really wants to play football. And they're in need, you could come back for some peanuts.
Yeah.
So that door's not closed. So I'm not in panic mode at tight end or any of that. Whatever.
Especially
where I'm going.
if the freak is there, at 32 from Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean,
You have to go there.
originally thought linebacker because you always want to be, always want to have a ton of linebackers. But once Bradham walked through that door, now if that freak's there at 32,
now you're back again. Now you're back to best available player.
Get in there.
Best available player when it drops to you.
That's it.
If it happens to be a tight end, awesome.
Yeah.
But if it happens to be a linebacker, great.
Yeah.
But if it happens to be a linebacker, then why is he dropping? That's the other thing I think of. You think Gesicki's going to be there. You think Geist, a running back from Louisiana, LSU, is going to be there. But now you could go and just literally take best available. And I think, especially in the first round or the first 2 rounds, you have to almost go best available because you can't pass up the talent alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
real quick, it's like what the Sixers did. You went big, 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 big. Sooner or later, 1 or 2 of those bigs is going to hit, and then you're going to be set. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'd rather have too many bigs than no bigs.
Yeah, especially when one of them was a hybrid. Noel is a perfect role guy. He just wasn't. He wasn't going to be the guy for us. We needed other pieces. But we like to have. I wouldn't mind having him back. But what I mean? But that full circle. When we're ready to put this thing together.
But that was in when we didn't know about Joe.
Yeah,
that was in that limbo with Joe. So at this point, get enough talent in here as Joe Douglas is bringing in, and they'll be able to make it work.
Sort it out then,
Yeah,
it's a good problem to have.
And I know they they have a guy on the practice squad. I know he's practice squad, so it's like how much can we think of him? But I know they like the kid that they drafted a few years back,
Billy Brown,
tight end,
and the rugby guy.
That's true. I forgot
the old Australian rules football guy.
So they have options.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like I said, there's tight ends out there. Now I understand Trey Burton was touted as the number 1 available tight end, and I'm sure that's fair. I absolutely think that's fair. But you don't want to get handcuffed later on because of a back-end tight end salary.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's literally what we were staring in the face. It was either you do that or you recognize the importance and depth and as far as, other position needed. And they still have to – and they're still working on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's still a few moves to be made. And obviously, the biggest thing is replenishing those draft picks if you really need them. Because for me, it's like, do I really think Howie Roseman's going to be leaving this draft without a second and a third? Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No chance.
I mean, there was never a doubt of what the guy did in the offseason. He's always won the offseason. He's always been a numbers guy.
It's just been
so
yeah.
why worry about that? It was always about can you get it done on the field.
Right.
All right, and that's sometimes, that's out of his control. I mean, he can only, as Tom says, he shops for the groceries, right? Sooner or later, if you can't fucking, if you don't know how to drink or you can't fucking eat, that's not his fault. I mean, he put it in front of you. So, they finally put it together this year, but
yeah.
It is what it is, and now he's just, continuing that executive of the year, and he's just gonna, we'll see what happens.
Boys, quickly, who cuts the Nets down?
Nova's tough. Man.
It's a shame. It's a shame the way it worked out because I think this side of the bracket, either Kansas Duke versus Nova, right? That's who they play, right?
Yep.
I think that's a national championship game, and it's just a shame the way it played out. That's going to happen on Saturday as opposed to on Monday. Michigan looks really good.
I really do, but
Michigan looks really good. I'm going to go with the winner of the Nova Duke Kansas game because obviously we don't know who's winning this game right now. But I'm going to go with the winner of that. I just think these three teams are the three best teams in the NCAA. I thought they were the three of the top 5 best teams coming into the tournament, and they're still here.
Yeah, I had Michigan winning one of them, so I'm not gonna. But Nova's tough, though. I mean, just that side to me, like you said, really, that's about where it was. So it wasn't necessarily that I thought they were the best team. They were playing great. They had a week off after the Big Ten tournament, but it was more like you said, the side. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't worried. I didn't think Virginia was going to lose to a 16, but they didn't do nothing for me. Right? There was no movement in the underwear department. You know what I mean? I liked Arizona, and they took a dump. You know what I mean? So there was nothing there that was impressing me. So I had Michigan coming out of that side anyway. But Villanova's tough, man. Wow. They are tough and deep. And if they're hitting threes, I know anybody can say that in the country, but they're tough, man. And Brunson should be player of the year.
Well, I mean,
he's special.
It's like, I didn't watch much of the game, but I watched probably the last 2 minutes. And it's like the broadcast said. If Texas Tech would have said, you're holding Nova to 70 points, are you signing up for that?
Yeah.
And the broadcast,
87.
yeah.
They scored 87.
Well, they ended it. They ended up scoring a lot, but at that point in the game, they're like, are you holding?
No, I'm saying for the year.
Oh yes,
they
average in the mid-80s. And you're holding.
Scored,
you're holding Villanova, the best scoring team in the country, to 70 points.
Yeah,
you're going to take that. Yeah. It's just that the shots didn't look like they fell as much for Texas Tech as they had all year.
It's Kansas ball, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, the refs are a joke in this tournament.
No, it's tough. I mean, this play's a tough play to get. You know what I mean? It looks like it's going off of him, but it really,
officiating has been horrible.
That's my one gripe, and I hate griping about the officials, but it's like, they're making it about themselves.
The Kentucky game was 51 fouls the other day.
How many times are we going to have these star players in foul trouble? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Zabuki's fouled out every game.
I look back at the Xavier game with McCara. When do you think J.P. McCara has fouled out in a game this year? Yeah. I bet you probably is none. And he fouls out in Xavier's biggest game of the year because they ended up losing because he was out of the game.
No, I don't see any problem, just big picture. I don't see any problem complaining about refs at all because we're the consumers, and it's kind of like, you tune in to watch fouls. That you tune in for the storyline to be fouls, not the players, not their individual talent, not the team's talent, just about fouls and the refs. Like, that's not why we tune in.
I mean, if you have a game, like I said, the Kentucky, Kansas State game, 51 fouls. I mean, just come on.
Brutal.
You can't. It's impossible.
You want to
team best 5. Go at it.
Yeah, you want to go into these referee meetings before you attack the game, and you want to discuss like, okay, what style are we going to call this game? How are we going to start to be consistent? How are we going to finish? Well, if you're going in the fucking meeting, bro, and your meeting's like, we're going to really be ticky-tacky, well, then you're going to be there for fucking 4 hours.
Yeah.
So why would you want to be there that long anyway? Let the kids play. Call what's really a foul. Don't be ticky-tack with it. There's going to be some physicality. Let some things go.
It's the tournament.
It's almost like the playoff hockey style.
Right.
Let them things go.
Well,
but
it's what they do in the Super Bowl, too.
With the TTP Ballin and Sixers JT, both would love Mikal Bridges to be a Sixer.
Yeah.
Not against that either.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
not against that either. But no, Nova, I'm going to stay with Nova. That's who I talk, and I'm not even a Nova guy. Just they're the best team in the country. Michigan's hot as shit. It's going to be them two meeting up, and I'm going to give it to Nova.
Yeah, I got Nova, Michigan on that in two of mine, and then just split them. Just wind up 1-1. So.
Took Nova.
No, I mean.
I took the winner of that of that game.
I'll go Michigan on this side.
I originally took Michigan and Nova. I think that's the only thing I got right in this freaking tournament. So I'm going to stick with that, obviously, and I had Nova winning then. It hasn't hurt me yet, so I'm going to stick with Nova. I mean, they're tough, man.
Yeah.
They're really freaking tough.
No,
Is Michael Porter the consensus number 1 overall?
No.
Not anymore, right?
No, last mock I saw Michael Porter was like 4-5 range. The consensus number 1 is Ayton.
So what do you do? 6, or you take if the Lakers get it and it comes ours?
What? At what pick?
The Lakers, if they end up
number 1.
Yeah.
You take Ayton.
You take Ayton, right?
Fuck yeah.
And you just have fun with it.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. Let's go get cute.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's gonna happen. It's gonna make a Spurs
Twin
effect.
Towers.
I'm gonna go win like 27 fucking in
Can
a
you
row.
imagine? Can you imagine the size though? You go Embiid, Ayton, Saric.
Oh my god.
Then you go little JJ, who's 6'5", and then Ben.
Right there.
It's us on a Fisher Price net against a bunch of 5-year-olds dominating.
Well, it's like that video of Markel where he hurt his
That's
shoulder.
a tough way to go out, dude. You missed 2 back-to-back threes, right?
And then it's just going to make Ben's game better because then you got a 7-footer that's a better shooter than you. Well, two of them. You know, so now he's going to be like, shit, bro. I'm coming, relax. I'm going to be a good shooter.
TTP says if that's the case, you trade back. No, you don't.
No.
You just take them. Take the best player.
Don't
you don't go
overthink
for
it.
need.
Yeah, no,
if you go for need, that's what gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
You just say, okay, we'll figure out a way to make this work. That's all you do. We'll make it work.
Well, and
the San Antonio say, well, we're going to pass up on Duncan?
And the
No,
reason behind it
we're gonna make it work.
is although I don't even want to bring it up,
I know where you're going, and I was thinking
you
Yao
never
Ming in my
know.
head. Yeah, I was
I'm
thinking
not
Yao
going
Ming.
to bring it up.
I didn't
I'm
want
not
to
going to bring it up,
because
but
we're on the
you
same
never
page.
know.
We're on the same page.
You never know what's going to happen,
Yeah,
and I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't even want to bring up the bad juju.
And listen, I'll say it again.
The same thing.
The best as far as success, well, it's at the best chance when Brian doesn't have to move in the draft. Like, okay, Brian, you're number 1. Okay, Brian, you're 3. All right, I'll stay here because every time he stayed put, it's worked out so far.
Yeah, he's 1 out of 2.
One time, yeah, I'm saying when Brian had to move up, listen, not off to a good start.
Yeah, Arizona, foolish. He played for Arizona.
Ayton, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Michael, did Michael Porter even play this year?
He played very little because he had a back injury.
Yeah, like I'm not too many.
It was like 30 seconds in the first game. Then he came back for
We
the
won't see him
SEC.
for 5
one
years.
game in the SEC tournament.
Yep.
And then they got doored in their 8-9 matchup. I think Florida State.
I thought for a
They were
second.
shorthanded.
I thought for a second him alone
Did you get it?
would be able
way
to
over, yeah.
get them past a game or two, just because
Yeah,
he is very
well,
talented.
that's what I mean.
He's
totally,
very talented.
I picked them in all of them.
Yeah.
I totally disrespected.
I had him
Florida
actually
State.
go on a little run.
Yeah.
Me too.
I
think I had him beating
I totally
Kansas.
disrespected Florida State, and I had Missouri beating Xavier. In one
Yeah.
of them, you know?
Yeah, or that's
Just to
the
try to-
bracket they were in, Xavier. Yeah.
Where's Mo Bamba going? He shouldn't come out.
He will.
No, he's coming.
He's coming. He already declared.
No, I understand,
No,
but he shouldn't.
yeah.
But again, that's another guy that I think the consensus number 1 pick is Ayton. The number 2 pick is the shooter or the guard out of like Latvia. He's like a combo shooter, point guard.
22
The
years
biggest
for him.
mistake these guys make is hiring an agent when you're a young guy.
Well,
Just
that's
let it
the
ride.
issue with
You
the
know what I
NBA
mean?
and
Just
the
pay
NCAA.
attention and just keep your phone on. You know what I mean? If somebody calls you, you go to work out.
Why can't a kid?
You know what I
Why
mean? Because
can't
they
a
think
kid
these
enter?
guys are going to pull so many strings for
Why
him.
can't a kid enter the draft?
He can.
And if he doesn't get drafted, go back to
As
school.
long as he doesn't hire an agent, he's good.
No, but there still is a point in the process that you have to say, I'm staying and I'm not coming back to school.
Okay.
There is still an end date, and you're right. It's such a load of crap for these kids.
That's dirty then. Because
It's
I
such
saw
a load of crap for
somebody's
these kids.
coming out that didn't hire an agent
Yes,
just for
the
that
kid
reason.
from I think
'cause he
he's
wants
from
to go
San
back.
Diego State
He
or
wants to come
New
back.
Mexico State. Yeah, he's like, I'm coming out. I want to test the process, but I'm not hiring an agent because I want to have the flexibility to come back if I need to. That's such a load of crap.
Yeah.
Just let the
I didn't know
kids
that, though.
let the
That's
kids go
crazy.
through the whole process. If they don't get drafted, they don't get drafted where they want to. They can go back to school. Hockey does it.
Yeah.
Hockey does it.
That's terrible. I didn't know that.
I mean,
that's
MLB
terrible.
does it.
That's terrible.
If you don't get drafted where you want to,
I
you
just
don't
thought
do
it was
it.
an agent. I just thought it was an
No.
amateur professional
There
status.
still
you
is
know what I
an
mean?
end date. There is still a deadline date where if you declared, you have to either say I'm staying or I'm going back, and there is still a date.
All right. Well, we got a fantasy baseball draft. The Rock too.
Yeah.
So before we keep fucking talking, because we'll do it
Sure,
all
we'll
night.
do it all night.
We'll do it all night. Thank you all. We love you all. Family talk.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks,
Been
guys.
Oh.
agree, disagree. ATD
Kansas
Radio.
moves on. Obviously, you guys know that. So Kansas Nova.
Kansas Nova. Tom Renaud, Nick Delgazzo, Greg Mwakovic, Ryan Brodo. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Sports Hounds. Tuesday, Birds of Feather. Wednesday, The Fix, AM and the PM. Thursday, Lazy Booking, Hockey Happy Hour.
Spellman.
Sunday, Agree, Disagree. Oh, Saturday,
–
Baseball Roundtable. Sunday, back to Agree, Disagree.
Spellman, better luck next year. Beat it.
Love
dude.
y'all. Yeah.